Hello everybody that is on YouTube. We are going to jump into game number 4 of FlyQuest vs TSM. I made a little poll on Twitter. I don't have enough energy today because I'm planning to work on my lists and release them tomorrow. Well, when this is on YouTube, probably the list is already out. So, yeah. I don't know how to schedule this. This is probably going to be on YouTube the 16th. This is going to be on YouTube the 16th. So, all in all, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, sorry, but I've seen a couple best of 5 from NA and I really disliked it. Yeah, let's check it out. Let's check it out. Maybe it's comedic. Maybe we'll see some glimpses of hope. I watched the series and honestly, it is what it is. Let's check out 2 games. If it's too boring, it is what it is, right? I noticed that a lot of people in the chat are not so excited about this one, but let's check it out. Before we begin, we had a question from Thorend. What do you think of that Fnatic Scrim League? Well, Selfmade playing Evelynn, Lucian mid, Shen top, Thresh of Hylissang and Ezreal. That was a confidence booster for Fnatic. That was a confidence booster. They were playing all their best shit. So, let's take it with a grain of salt, yeah? Let's take it with a grain of salt. There was a mad leak? Send me that mad leak as we head into the draft. Send me that mad leak if you have some of that juice. Nevertheless, just jump into draft. We have a Caitlyn first pick. Zillion Band targeted at Bjergsen. Nidalee targeted Spica, and then Lucian. Lucian, I didn't see Bjergsen play, but I imagine anyone can. Maybe Broken Blade is a Lucian enthusiast himself. Lucian is something that maybe in North America I wouldn't be too afraid of, but yeah, Lucian allows for Evelynn lock-in, and I assume Spica also plays it because FlyQuest banned it here. Hey Yamato, would you date a male viewer? I think you're pretty attractive. No, I would not. I am in fact straight, and I am in a loving relationship for the past 4 years and 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. So let's focus on what's going on in front of us. Second seed Chinese team would be JDG and Suning. Well, they're both in pool 2. Let's jump into it. Let's focus. So we see some AP jungle bans. Usually, you know, if you see the Syndra lock-in already, I think it depends completely on how you view the game. I guess in a world where you are TSM, there is a chance that they play a heavy topside game with some AD bruisers. I guess that's why they're banning AP jungle. I don't want to dwell on the bans too much because it's too centered on the region. It depends on the players, and I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on what Spica plays or what Bjergsen plays or what even Broken Blade plays. This is not my expertise. So let's just evaluate the draft and see where we land on them.
Play for Dragons are going to be up fairly well against that ball.
So we have a Morgana last pick. Okay. So this is a combination that I am not too certain of. I have not seen anyone execute it well, but sometimes you just pair 2 strong champions with each other and you're going to do well. The weakness of this bot lane is like the idea, like if you, I don't know if you're able to trap the Pantheon W. I think you have to be very good in order to do so. Very, very good. I'm sure there is like a small benchmark where you could actually pull it off. But the idea is Caitlyn Pantheon should have early game prio and should be able to do very, very well. Morgana is the last thing I would want to pick into it, because Pantheon honestly has a very good time against Morgana. This is a very physical, damage heavy lane, and the only thing you really get value on here is, of course, the W of Pantheon. But all in all, the Pantheon still does full physical damage, so Caitlyn Pantheon would honestly, on paper, is going to rip into this lane. I think that there is no reason to not pick Tahm Kench here. I think Tahm Kench would be good. I think you can even go as far as picking Braum, even though Braum into Pantheon is not that great. Get the idea is when you play against Braum with Pantheon, you can easily press E by the time the stun is proccing, and a lot of that burst is going to be, you know, very, very easy to block. I didn't understand the Jace 4th pick. What on earth is this about? But we'll talk about this more after we're done with the bottom matchup. Caitlyn first pick against Ashe, I think that's completely fine. I am just not a fan of the Morgana lock-in into Pantheon. I think it makes very little sense. Very, very little sense. And then Jace blind pick. I think if you are in North America, I think you shouldn't pick Jace. Unless you are so ahead of the curve of everyone else. I think Jace requires a lot of precision. There's not a lot of top laners I would let playing Jace. Not a lot of top laners. Very, very small pool. Like Jace is not in a state right now where he's super, super strong. And especially when you're on red side, you have set jungle already. You're banning Mordekaiser GP. GP ban I don't mind. Mordekaiser, I think you're just 5th pick here, because the goal should be for yourself to put yourself in a position where you land on a AP champion. You would love to play an AP champion here. Play an AP champion to synergize together with set jungle, and then you'll be very, very strong off. But here you are very, very AD heavy, and you are an Ornn against a Syndra. So Syndra as a champion, her DPS output is okay. It's okay. There's definitely worse champions, but there's also definitely better champions. Like playing Ornn into what you see here, it's a no-brain choice. It's a no-brain choice. It's a really, really a no-brain choice. If this is the comp that you're landing on, you're playing Ornn in this position, and as TSM you're looking at this, there shouldn't be an argument against you banning Ornn. Like, you'd rather play against a Mordekaiser here than an Ornn. Ornn just has too much value here, way too much value. Sure, there are moments where Set can do some good stuff to an Ornn, but I don't think that's enough to justify putting yourself in this situation. And I think that's part of the reason why they picked Morgana. They just want something to deal with the very, very powerful Ornn. I think Ornn should have been removed off the table. I think Ornn is one of the best blind picks you can do on blue side. Even after the nerfs, he just remains so resilient throughout the meta. Very, very strong champion. We continue. We had the Set lock-in. I think if Set Volibear is the trade that is going to happen within the game, I think I value Set much higher, because I think he just has a lot of variety in terms of how he can approach the game. And I don't think there's ever a point in time where Set is completely useless. He can itemize very, very freely, and Volibear is more like an Olaf. I would say Volibear is more of an Olaf type champion that requires to have an impact early, while Set doesn't have the same level of stress. Set has a lot of variety in terms of how he paths, so there's no fear of a Volibear level 3 invade. That is a very big strength of Volibear. So I'm going to value the Sets here. And that's usually the gain you get from giving up Kate and getting Ashe. Does anyone know what Yamato is using to draw on his browser? Thanks in advance. I'm using Epic Pen, and I'm just drawing on my screen, and you're currently seeing my screen being recorded. It's called Epic Pen. But then again, Vekovo subscribed to Twitch Prime. Thank you very much for subscribing. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. That is very kind of you. Let me just open up Spotify so we have a bit of music going on in the background. We have the Riot Games Creator Safe playlist. I'm gonna lower the volume. Dominion. Oh, this is some nice music. Is the volume good of the music? Please let me know. Okay, so we have the Azir blind pick. The Shrabster, thank you very much for subscribing, YouTube. Thank you, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to the Battle Cruiser. The Battle Cruiser is operational. We have the Azir blind pick, which is okay. Like, in a world where set mid is viable, even though we haven't seen that much of it. Azir is one of the champions that does well into it. It does quite well into the set because set wants to build tanky, and Azir has a natural, he has naturally high DPS, so you can do well against set. Is it a champion you need to ban if you're blind picking someone like Azir? Not necessarily. All matchups are quite playable. I would say some of the harder ones are Akali. You can pick Syndra into Azir. The thing with Azir, when you pick Azir, you allow the enemy to pick something that is going to be good into the whole of your composition. So for example, in this case, the Syndra lock-in is very good. Very good. Why is it good? It is fine into Azir, but it's also one of the best mid laners against Caitlyn, right? It is also very, very good into Volibear. Not very, very good, but it's decent, it's good, right? So here in this scenario, Syndra has value against 3 champions. Azir can lane and create opportunities. Azir definitely can. Because even some of the counters you guys mentioned, Azir can win lane against Ziggs. He can win lane against Syndra. He can win lane against Akali. It all depends on the state of the game. But Azir is a strong blind, but it also allows you to pick freely, right? It allows you to pick freely. And this is what TSM did. And looking at the 3, they have a very, very solid 3 first pick here into a very solid first 3 pick 2 on blue. So while I appreciate the Azir, it's something that maybe should be considered less against some of the players that play a very strong Akali or a strong Syndra, and this is very, very common at the World Championship. So I would look out where I think there's a world where Azir probably will go down. Orianna is also a pretty decent blind, and Zoe too. But in comparison to Azir, is that, for example, they have some matchups that are harder. For example, Azir into Orianna. It's laneable for Orianna, but tricky. Zoe does better into Akali than Azir, and this is just the hierarchy of, blind picks. It always depends on your jungle pick. So it's very important on blue when you blind pick that you have a jungle that synergizes with you. Because if you're playing, for example, blue side and your jungle looks Nidalee and you're picking Zoe and the enemy can easily, itemize magic resistance, you're going to have a hard time. This is one of the problems you need to solve on blue side, is that you need to have avenues of pressure at every point in the game. You can't really float by at the highest level of gameplay where you're just waiting for moments. Nevertheless, let's continue. So I have Nidalee out, and we have Lily out. We have the Set and the Ashe into Volibear. I know a lot of people don't like Volibear. I think it really, really depends on what kind of a team you are. If we think of the options, what could they pick here into the set? I think things that come to mind is Graves is an option. Nidalee could be an option. Of course, Lilia could be an option. 2 champions that are banned. Graves is also out. You could pick Trundle, right? You could pick Trundle. Trundle could be good into set. But you don't know where set is going, right? You don't know where set is going and you're blind picking. And this makes things a little bit harder, right? Set could go support, set could go mid. And considering here from FlyQuest side, they don't want to show support pick, they want to wait. And they don't want to show top lane pick, so they want to wait. I think you could get away with picking Ornn here. But then let's say a world where Graves is banned and Volibear is banned. Where does that land us? Right? Where does that land us? So there's an option of maybe Sejuani. Sejuani could be an option, but the synergy between Sejuani and Azir is non-existent. What other jungle picks could we potentially slot in there if these two are the ones getting banned? Zac would be tricky. You don't want to play Zac against Set and also Syndra. It's not that easy. What are jungle champs who are good with Azir? You just want to aim to pick a physical damage champion. Physical damage. Sometimes you can steer away from that synergy, but in the case where you pick Ornn, you definitely want to lock in something that has physical damage. Is J4 nerfed to Oblivion? He's kind of outdated. I would say Set is just a better Jarvan. Really, I would say Set is a better Jarvan. Jarvan relies too much on teams having Summoner down. And if you're fighting against Summoners, it's not that bad. Like Jarvan is not that bad, right? Usually you rate Jarvan by how many champions have dashes, really. Syndra, Ashe don't have dashes. But the problem is, right now in the current state of why you're not coaching anymore, I just coach Sandbox. I am the coach of Sandbox. I'm the head coach of Sandbox, Oadino. I miss you on Splice. On top of that, Splice doesn't exist anymore. So it's you just woke up, you were in Fallout. You just woke up from being, frozen somewhere, and you're like, wah, you just woke up. Hecarim could be one. Hecarim could be a good option. So that is a good option. Hecarim could be a one. Yeah, Hecarim could be good. Hecarim could be good. Honestly, Hecarim is the solution. Can't set Morgana E and set stop the J. Many things can stop Jarvan E, EQ. It's like the most stoppable spell in the game. Okay, so there's Volibear. Because here, I think Ornn should be banned almost always. Jace shouldn't be last picked. I think you can pick Tom here. Like, at least if you're last picking support, you need to be able to pick something better than the Pantheon. Better than the Morgana, because here you're just countering yourself in the lane phase. And if Caitlyn and Pantheon have a good lane phase, they're going to pressure into mid, and this trio is very, very tough. It's very strong. Is Pantheon into Morg Ashe not trolling? I think Morgana is trolling. Like, I think this is winning for Pantheon. Why did TSM didn't go for TF win game with Ashe carry? Well, the thing is, picking Twisted Fate against Azir is not that wise. Yeah, scratch the Tahm Kench 4th pick. I don't want Tahm 4th. I think just the problem is not banning Ornn. I think just not banning Ornn. Like, why is Ornn open? I don't think Ornn should be open here. Like, you ban 2 top and you give Ornn. My opinion is TSM draft is better though. I disagree. I think it's too hard to execute. I think their bot lane matchup is much worse. I think Pantheon having freedom to do whatever he wants, Ornn having a very easy time itemizing this game. I think it's going to be a very hard game for TSM to win based off of draft alone. I don't think this is a better draft for TSM. It relies too heavily on Jace snowballing out of control. Maybe no ban Ornn because easier matchup early for Jace. Well, Jace has an easy time early in all matchups, honestly. You think TSM should have gone for Lulu? Well, Lulu is not that good into Pantheon. Like, it's a tough lane. Like Pantheon hates laning against champions. Syndra scales well. Jace also in some cases also scales well. I don't like the idea of 5th picking support if it's Morgana. If you 4th pick Morgana, enemy is going to pick Lulu and you're going to lose. Honestly, Honestly, guys, you can also just go Ornn. Ornn here. Ornn here would be quite nice. But the problem with Ornn here is maybe they go Volibear top, but honestly, I don't give a shit. I don't think you should give a shit. Problem is, Braum is not that good into Pantheon, but it's definitely better than Morgana. Ornn 4th pick looks pretty good to me. Picking Ornn. What's good into Pantheon? Well, Pantheon from level 1, 2, 3 in most lanes wins. Like Pantheon level 1, 2, 3 is very, very strong. And sometimes it's strong enough to snowball into full 5 as well. And then it depends on how much you roam and how much impact you have on the map, right? Pantheon is a very, very strong early game support. Very few supports are going to win against Pantheon. Later, what he struggles against are tanky supports. When Pantheon has one less target to commit to, the harder it gets. What about Taric into Panth? Yeah, Taric could do well, I imagine. I haven't seen it, but theoretically it sounds good in my mind. BB on Tankto? Well, I don't care. Like as I mentioned at the beginning, I don't know what is going on here. I personally, I would like if the draft was this, if Gragas was support, like let's you go Ornn and enemy. Let's say best case scenario they go Sylas. I don't know if they play Sylas, but you would go Sylas here, and then Pantheon blind. Gragas support is really, really good against Pantheon. I think Gragas support is very, very good into Pantheon. You can cancel the W, and you can go Aftershock. You are doing super good. Pantheon versus Bard thoughts. Pantheon is winning that matchup, but they both want to roam into mid. Yeah, but Taric is not bad against Pantheon. It just depends on your AD. So ideally, this would be the outcome, you know? Ornn, Gragas. Like I just feel like you were banning 4 Ornn here, no? You're banning 4 Ornn. Like if you're blind picking Jace, why would you ban these two? You can win these two. Like GPU, understand, sure, GPU ult is very powerful against Syndra and Ashe, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. Here, Gragas. I think teams that don't prepare Gragas support for Worlds are going to be in trouble. Thoughts on Ali into Pantheon? I think the weakness of Alistar is too big in this lane. Like Pantheon Kate is legit gonna zone you off XP. Leona is good into Pantheon, yeah. Like if you play Pantheon, Gragas support is very good, guys. Very, very good. But I think we've had enough. What would be good jungle here if we flex set support? There's not really anything to pick. Maybe Sejuani, but yeah. I think Sejuani is very strong. But yeah, it is what it is. Rakan into Pantheon, any good? I don't think so, because Rakan is not naturally durable. It's not naturally durable. You want to pick some champions that are naturally durable. And Rakan is not so naturally durable. But it's winnable. It's winnable. Like, I think it's not like free lose. It's just that Pantheon's strengths are very clear, alright? And those strengths are hard to prevent. Renekton into Camille. I don't know where that question comes from, but Renekton is wins lane against Camille, but the stats say that Camille wins more games against Renekton, so you know, I think it depends on jungle pick. Super Swain is not really a thing, no. Do Korean players ever compare themselves to other people? I don't know what you mean. Nevertheless, let's jump into the game. Camille blind on 3 first. Camille has a lot of counters. Like, Camille doesn't win lanes, that many lanes. Camille struggles into Mordekaiser. Camille struggles into Volibear. Camille struggles into Jace. Camille can lose against Ornn even. It's all depending on team composition. And I feel like the flavor of Camille being strong has been worn out, because Camille is one of those things that you need to learn how to adapt to. Especially when we had this era and this meta, these weeks where we had TF and Camille. Actually, Camille can win Poppy. Camille can win Poppy. Like, it's kind of a soft counter because of how the W and they interact, but Camille can definitely win against Poppy. But let's focus on what's going on in front of us. So we have a level 2 first, Fly Quest, got a slow push, Wild Setter with the perfect CS, we enjoy that. Jay slow pushing top, Cull with, of course, Cut Down and Presence of Mind, and then Mana Immune build with Conqueror. These are standard things that you get to see. This is the lane where I think Ornn can survive quite well, and then later on Volibear and Ornn can easily find timings to destroy an Ornn. I mean, a Jace. Like, Jace can't really get away that easily from an Ornn ult, especially since he's not running Phase Rush, he's running Conqueror. So he's just going for a more scale-heavy build. Most of the time you see like a Yumu's, you see a Black Cleaver, you see a Mana Immune, and so forth. This leaves Jace in a position where at 6 against an unsealed spellbook, there are opportunities for Ornn to actually solo kill a Jace. If that happens, usually the Jace is just put in the grave, especially in a game like this where the Ornn is going to have unbelievable value from items. It also depends on if Ornn is running conditioning. That's sometimes a very greedy choice. I don't recall how this game goes. But let's just pay attention and look at how things are panning out. Power was playing the lane phase good. I don't know if this is a pause. We're just going to fast forward. 2 beautiful, bald people. Beautiful. Look at the shape of Azael's head, man. That is a beautiful shape. I'm not even kidding, man. He has a beautifully shaped skull. Beautiful. Let's jump into it. We have a so-called cheater Baseroni in the top lane. Solo didn't get to cheater base, of course, he's getting pushed in, and then of course Solo is you know, building his items. Ignar with the roam into mid. This is standard Pantheon procedure. Power Wheel actually winning out pretty heavily on the first early levels. FlyQuest playing a good game. Good first base for set in terms of gold. Volibear is already in position, and this is a big win for Power of Evil. He's going to get to push into wave, and Bjergsen shouldn't be bold enough to TP right on the wave. He goes for tier. This is a big mistake from Biofrost. I don't know why he's face checking River, but you saw the damage output here from Pantheon, right? This is what makes Pantheon strong. So this is one auto from Kate, no bone plating because of that one auto, and then she gets stabbed a couple of times, and then she's completely out of it. Look at that HP. That is from one support. Pantheon's base damages are so high, and that's what makes him so good. So this is a very, very good exhibition, you know, of why Pantheon support is so strong. It's just like the epitome of what early game should look like. And look at that spear, boom, fully charged, stacks on. Very, very nice. He did ignite for whatever reason. He thought he could push for kill with Fly Turtle. Wild Turtle wasn't, just didn't commit. Because here, when he procs Fleet Footwork, here he should actually commit. The trap placement is good, but he should commit all the way. I don't know why he doesn't commit all the way. He's hitting double lift, but in all honesty, he could commit here to go and force a flash or maybe a heal. This is just Wild Turtle being too scared of the Ashe. Followed. Thank you, Peanut Fanboy. Thank you very much for your nice comment, George Clooney. I like your coffee commercials. Isn't press the attack way better than Conk on Support Pantheon? Well, the evolution of it is that you kind of lose your power. It's like it's too upfront, the burst, and you can get more out of having Conqueror. That is the thought process of having Conqueror, because you stack Conqueror almost instantly and you get a lot of 80 out of it, and then you can stab with Q second time, and you know, I can see the reasoning for both. Some people also really enjoy Phase Rush, but I think missing out on the damage is a mistake. I don't know why Power Weaver was forced to TP back. Let's take a look at the lane position, because here Power Weaver was pushing. Maybe he's pushing too slow. He's pushing too slow, and then he was forced to TP back because Bjergsen is freezing. But Bjergsen is not freezing. He's not freezing. Maybe the mistake is that no one helped him push. I think if someone helped him push, he could have saved TP potentially here. Because that should be the gain of all the time that Volibear and Pantheon spent into mid lane. But now, because both TP, there's no gain. No gains at all. There's a slight, like, 3 CS advantage here for Azir. But Syndra is going to catch this wave that is under the turret now. She went for tier. I can understand the tier base, considering the goal that Bjergsen based on. But I think missing out on Luden's Echo is rough as the Syndra player. Electropanth much better, no? No, not really. You just get more damage out of the other runes. Yeah. PoE was and couldn't push fastly. Yeah, that's why I'm suggesting that they should probably assist him in the push. And now, even though, you know, looking at top lane, the condition for Ornn is very, very good. Like someone mentioned in the chat before that Jace has an easy time against Ornn, but this just gets worse with time, especially when Ornn is like pressing tab, seeing that there's 3 AD on the enemy team and also a Syndra that is now itemizing into tier. He can easily, you know, commit to a Tabi. He can commit to even a Bramble Vest if he wants to. Not necessary at all, but against Conqueror it is a pretty good tech choice. We have BF against BF, Essence Reaver purchase for double lift. This we appreciate and like. A lot of AD carries are buying Blade always in the LPL, even though it's Essence Reaver game. I think I saw Viper doing this first. Viper, a very smart player. Very smart player. Viper, and Lehen's bot lane is a good staple bot lane in the LCK. Pantheon Caitlyn securing Drake. No biggie. We have a Mountain Drake, but looking at FlyQuest's side, looking at their composition, knowing that they have this one Drake, also that it's Mountain, when you have a Volibear and an Ornn on your team, that's absolutely massive. This is a very good Drake role. And on top of that, you know the TSM's composition is on a timer, because when Ornn begins to build items, they're playing against an Azir, they have a great front line, and against a Caitlyn. Like, it's just... The ending of this game is starting to become inevitable. I think also in North America, 10 out of 10 times, unless it's like the 10th worst team in the region, I would go for, you know, this is the draft that is going to win out the game. So let's take a step back and check out Solo's position here on the wave. Here, Volibear, like, I don't know why Solo is queuing the wave. It makes absolutely no sense. Like here, this is not freezing. This is not freezing. These are 3 range minions getting pummeled by a cannon wave. So this is not a freezing lane. You need one additional melee minion to tank this up. Here, queuing the wave and pushing the wave makes absolutely no sense. It only makes sense if Volibear is right in that bush with you and you want to push and reset and set up for a Rift Herald. But this timer of Volibear is good considering Herald is not spawning yet, and they could easily just wait here. Ornn could take a step back, maybe build his Chain Vest if he can afford it. I doubt that he can. I think it's a bit too soon, but there's no reason for him to make this wave into a freezing wave. Because now Broken Blade, you know, after Solo played a good early game looking at the outcome, putting yourself in this position where you die, you give the enemy an avenue of actually playing the game. So this is something that just can't happen. This is a Volibear that's jumping in. I don't know why Broken Blade is not fighting. Like here, Broken Blade could be hitting. I don't know why he's running. He needs to peel for his brother here. Like why? What's Broken Blade? Why is he not hitting? Why is he not hitting? Just range, auto attack, range, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. Santorin flash. Why? Let's check out his flash. He's just flashing to get the damage down. He was looking to trade kills, but he couldn't get it done. Also, did he just miss the ultimate? He didn't miss the ultimate. So I think here he could just wait. He could get more damage off his ult, and then maybe he could just get this kill done, because he ulted into the shield of the W that lasts a little bit. But here, just I don't know why Broken Blade is not hitting. He can hit more. And then he can go like Azir's position. They have a ward in Tribush, right? They have a ward in Tribush, so they are completely aware of Azir's timing here. Syndra is now moving. Syndra is very happy with this situation because she could push in the wave and then walk into top side. I don't think there's a dive here. Azir is too weak. Volibear is too weak as well. Volibear actually doesn't exist right now. No mana, no HP. So this is something to be happy about. Good patience here. Wild Turtle not cleansing, but now, yeah, he's just not cleansing. Not cleansing at all. I wonder here if after the no cleanse happens, what happens if they just commit all the way? Because Morgana still has... Oh, actually, she doesn't have Black Shield. I thought she had Black Shield. Because what on earth is this Black Shield? If we look back at it, like, what is this Black Shield? She's Black Shielding a Q. If Bifrost doesn't use Black Shield like this, I think there is room to burn some summoners here from Wild Turtle. It's just the Black Shield is off, and then Black Shield wears off, and then Ignar can zone double lift here, because if double lift goes too far, like then of course he's in kill range of the Ignite Pantheon. But here, if he doesn't Black Shield the Q of Pantheon, I think they can actually make something happen. Especially if they preemptively heal and doesn't get ignited, I think for sure Wild Turtle should minimum burn cleanse here, because he eats the arrow, and the fact that nothing comes out of it is very strange, because the Black Shield would just was terrible. The Black Shield was bad. I think the Black Shield was very, very bad. Let's rewind that tape. Once again, Solo has no reason to push. Yeah, complete disconnect there. It was a winning position. It was a winning position. If we take a step back, like at this point, top 2v2 is completely winning. Completely winning. It is completely winning. Why is he running cleanse over barrier this game? He should be running heal, and I think or TP. Like, there's no reason to run cleanse here, definitely. This is him not trusting Black Shield. But to be fair, with what we just saw, I think it's understandable as to why he wouldn't trust Black Shield. No offense, Bifrost. So here, just to reiterate, imagine a situation where Ornn kept ult, Volibear got to clear, he would reach 6, and then Ornn on top of that has Ignite. It's just that you know, even going cleanse against Pantheon sometimes is arguable as an Ashe. It just there's no other forms of CC to really cleanse, except maybe the volleyball Q. So here, if Solo played this with patience, Azir has prior mid. This would be winning. This would be completely winning. There was a tier, Syndra in mid. Keep in mind, when you buy tier, you have nothing. You invest 500 Gs into nothing. $500 Gs into nothing. This was a winning play. Imagine a situation where FlyQuest actually played out the topside situation good and secured this Rift Herald. This game would be in the dumpster already for TSM. But now instead you have a base for Jace that is a serrated Dirk. He got an assist, he got a bit of an advantage. Isn't tier 850? Yes, but 350 is stats, guys. Mana is still a stat. So if you look at the calculation of tier, so LOL wiki, tier of the goddess with 2 Ds. Oh, why is tier of the goddess hiding? So the tier of the goddess is 250 mana, Sapphire Crystal 250 mana, 350 is the price. You 850 minus 350, 500 is just the passive that isn't stacked in this moment, right? And even then, sure, there's an argument to be made that mana is not even a stat, right? And it doesn't provide you any sense of power. So even in this scenario, you know, you could argue there's a world where, you know, Syndra doesn't have any power. And that's, if someone told me that, yeah, I would be like, yeah, how can I tell you otherwise, right? The item is scamming you of the Fairy Charm. Not really, because you get Awe, refunds 10% of mana spent from casting abilities. And that's going to add up to be greater than Fairy Charm most of the time. So, no. You're good. You're good, Erosia. You're good. So now there's the Rift Herald, TSM. And naturally, what they want to do is they want to continue snowballing this Jace. But then again, if Jace is snowballing, I don't think it's enough to win this game. Like if you recognize the position of desperation you're in, even at this point in the game where you are even in gold, which is tough to see, honestly. It's tough to see because look at this overlay. This overlay really hard to understand sometimes. For my old eyes. Santorin's going to bottom side. Like if you're looking for ways to break the game, honestly, maybe you need to target the Azir. You need to, target the Caitlyn, because snowballing onto the Ornn is not going to really do you anything. Because even now, on paper, sure, this man has more money. This man has more money than Ornn. But this chain vest is worth so much, right? The same way, you know, gold has a value in real life. The dollar has a value. Sometimes the dollar value can be very inflated. If you're buying a serrated Dirk, the value of that is definitely corroded in a situation where the enemy has a chain vest. It nullifies the Dirk. It does more than nullify the Dirk. It takes the Dirk and takes a big shit on it. That's what it does. So even though Ornn has less money, he bought better stuff, you know. It's the equivalent of going to the store and buying candy with your money, and you know, Ornn went to the store and bought a bag of potatoes. A bag of potatoes can last you long, last you very, very long, and you know, that's good. What about putting the Jace mid and Syndra top? Well, the danger would be when, you know, Ornn just woo, and then Volibear comes. You know, that's the danger of playing a champion that has so low move speed. Something that, you know, by design, Riot has done. A lot of the mages and long-range AD carries have a very, very short, I mean, not short, but very, very slow movement speed. And that's good. That's good, because that prevents exactly that. Season 1 Worlds was plagued by AP top laners. You had Brand top, you had Orianna top, you had Gragas AP top, you had so many AP top, and yeah, it makes it nasty. So here, not going Manamune, not going Black Cleaver, not going, maybe one Serrated Dark is okay. It's definitely, you know, a good choice here, a good choice. Because it allows you to keep snowballing and using the fact, you know, it's like you have an easy lane, so you set yourself up for later parts in the game. Why did Ornn get random healed at 10:34-ish? He used his summoner, he has Spellbook. So now the next thing we are waiting is just what is the next move that is going to happen with Rift Herald. We understand that TSM is in a rough position. They're looking to use the Rift Herald on top side. We've talked about Ornn snowballing. He passes up on the tower. Honestly, here I think they should contest. I think Ornn should flip the burger, because looking at Pantheon's position and also Azir having TP, this could be completely winning. This is completely winning. But FlyQuest know the time is their friend, so they're backing off. Imagine a world with Pantheon ults here. They dive, Pantheon ults, Ornn Horn, and then Pantheon ults, Azir forces TP. Syndra also TPs, but that's a 3v3 under a turret. That's a 3v3 under the turret, and also Syndra needs to catch a wave on top. I mean, on mid. Because look at this. Azir already fought for Prio. He's stacking a wave, he's building a wave. And I think Pantheon could definitely save this. I think there is some magic to be done. On top of that, Ornn ult does good damage onto the tower, and also Ornn have fucking a chain vessel on already, so he could survive this for quite some time. I think higher level teams would definitely go for this play. But it is definitely a safe play to do this way. They get a Drake, they'd snowball further, the Set and Jace. Two of the people that are going to have the least use for the gold in this game are getting the gold, right? So this is why in-game you need to recognize, you always need to be able to decipher how are we going to win this game. That's why I am a heavy advocate for understanding all lanes. To become a better player, you need to understand all lanes, because then you can begin to understand what sacrifices you can make in order to put yourself in a winning position. Here, if Syndra was maybe ahead and had the gold and had a little bit of a CS advantage and had the Rift Herald action going on for him, then this would have been maybe a game where arguably you can make something happen, because Syndra naturally does very well into Azir, Caitlyn and Volibear. But in this situation, where Caitlyn is strong, she's 10 CS ahead, Azir is in a healthy state, Ornn is the one behind, it doesn't fucking matter, because Ornn just gets too much value from his items, especially when he reaches level 13. And now is the trade-off that is happening. Set was in top side, Jace was in top side, so even though the Herald was used to break the tower, Wild Turtle did in fact get a lot of platings here. He got a lot of platings, Pantheon is permanently pressuring into mid lane, Morgana and Ashe are constantly showing onto bottom tower. This is a very tough game for Bjergsen, Doublelift and Bifrost to play. And this is also where the issue comes in. So Broken Blade has all that juicy money, but he's buying lethality into a Ornn and also a Voliboy. So it is very, very tough. And this was a massive mistake, I don't know why Broken Blade is even showing up here. This is like he's in mid, but he's playing like he's, you know. So this is a type of mistake that just can't happen. Because yeah, it's a disaster. This was a disaster. It was literally no there's no way to justify this movement here. No way to justify this movement here. They had Syndra catching top, and Syndra is pushing in, and it's just something that you can't justify. Even here, there's a chance that Syndra gets fucking solo killed by Ornn. Even this move here by Bjergsen is pretty fucking wild. There's a world where Syndra gets solo killed here. I don't remember what happens. I really don't remember what happens here. But there's a world where Syndra gets solo killed here if Ornn goes. Like legit. This is. I just don't like solo. Just made a very strange combo here. Very strange combo. I think here you start with Q and then you W, you E, and then you Ornn ult after the flash. Like there's many ways to play this. This is solo kill city here. This is solo kill city here. I think this is a misplay from the Ornn. Summit Ornn would solo kill here for sure. Yeah, QW to force flash first. The Syndra was angling towards the push. He could QWE and then Ornn ult, and then like Volibear would even catch up. There's no way in hell that the Syndra has lethal onto Ornn, because even though he doesn't have MR, this Ornn has so much HP already from the Sunfire and a lot of damage from the Sunfire. So this is definitely a situation where he can go lethal. But once again, you know, this game is over already. This game is over already on paper if FlyQuest don't take any risks. So it's understandable. It's understandable. We're just looking at min-maxing situations, right? So now this Jace is going for additional lethality. Yeah, we've talked about this issue for forever now. So he's going for lethality. Ornn should be winning on side against Jace. Ornn has an ignite, so this is room for opportunity here. It's all about, you know, being able to analyze the game state. So if you're watching and you want to learn and become a better coach, a better player, a better viewer, not a better viewer, but you want to understand the game better, being able to pause and then deciphering the game state, because already on the screen now we have so much information, What are the key pieces of information that we can look at? We have the gold, we have the dragons. Great information. The turrets, we have summoners, we have levels, we have XP. Not XP entirely, but we have levels. We have all the information we need to predict how this game is going to go is right in front of us. So what are the key aspects, right? What are the key aspects at this point in time? We know that Azir and Syndra are in a relative even state. We see that she's going for Archangel, so she's going to be not that strong. Like if you think of a Syndra, currently the fact that she doesn't have Luna's Echo puts very little pressure on Ornn. By the time Ornn finishes Abyssal, which in most cases is going to go for here, Syndra is also going to finish a second item, and by that time it's too late already for Syndra to cause any pressure to the Ornn in any type of fights that will happen. Considering Infernal is spawning in 2 minutes, Drake in 2 minutes, Zul'Dak, you pointed up, 2 TPs up for TSM, good point. This is the key information, right? Ornn is going to be far too powerful, because right now if I'm playing Ashe, if I'm playing Jace, I'm looking at Ornn as a potential problem. What is the potential solution? Right now you kind of hope that he makes a mistake, or you could call set. You need to keep your abilities to peel away the Ornn, because right now Ornn is a big issue and we can't really, you know, deal with him, because we can't really kill him. Syndra also doesn't have Seraph's Embrace finished, and she's going to... Syndra has mana problems if she builds Ludens, if I recall correctly. No, not really. Like sure, to some degree you can put yourself in positions where you have mana problems, but it doesn't justify the purchase. What is Syndra rushes Void second? Rushing Void second when you have 3 ADs on your team is going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible, right? You can't. She has Mercury already. I think Mercury is the wrong choice. You have a Morgana on your team, and your interaction with others should be good. I think this is a social issues. I think this is a Luden's Echo game. I think this is a Oblivion Orb game. You need to find... You know, Syndra is the one that needs to snowball, because her interaction is the best with the enemy carries. Right? Her interaction is the best with the enemy carries. Jace can also do some harm, Jace can also do some harm to the carries, but it's just harder for Jace to forego the past that the Volibear and Ornn exists. That's the problem. So if we are thinking, we are looking at it, 2 minutes is the next Drake. Are there fighting chances for TSM? If we are looking at it from TSM's perspective, when are they winning? And that's the problem. It is very difficult to see a time when they are winning. There is no point in the game where they're going to be winning because of the itemization choices, draft choices. On paper, they should never be winning. So when you're in such a position, doesn't mean it's doomed, because rarely in competitive play and also in solo queue, it is very difficult for teams to play perfect. So what do they need to look for? They need to look for opportunities when they outnumber. Outnumbering is a good way. Outnumbering is the better way of putting picks. You want to create picks. I know Leandris isn't that good on Syndra. It's fine on Syndra. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Syndra is fine. Like Leandri is fine. Leandri is such a strong item that in most cases it's fine. In most cases it's fine. It's rarely about pick tools. It's rarely about pick tools. Like the conversation of pick tools or pick comp, it really isn't it. The conversation should be and framed in a way where it's it should be framed in a way, can we are we forced to set up ganks on side? Pick composition, it's a very lazy way of putting it. Pick tools, it's like saying you have good spells, right? You have good spells. Okay, great. You have pick tools. You have spells that, yeah, that leaves room for the enemy to fuck up. So, if I'm TSM right now, the only way to create any type of advantage is abusing the fact that this Ornn has Ignite and he doesn't have TP on right now. He needs to get close to someone. He needs to get close to someone and ignite someone, right? He needs to get close to someone to ignite. So here, if I'm Jace, right now it's red alert. For TSM it's red alert because I don't see a viable way for them to win this game unless FlyQuest completely mess up, right? There's no argument for how they could possibly win fights unless FlyQuest completely fuck up. So there's two ways to put it. Either you fish for that mistake. We're like, okay, the enemy needs to make a mistake in order for us to win. Maybe Jace can land some crazy EQs. Maybe that's a way. Maybe we can land on Morgana binding. That's one way to approach the game, right? We need to force a mistake. The way you force a mistake is you look for that mistake. You make it as tough as possible for the enemy to finish the game, right? That's something that Fnatic in 2018 were very good at. Even though you were ahead against them, it was super tough to win against them because they always thought, they were like, okay, we're in a losing position. How do we approach it? You know, there is something that it's a skill to be comfortable in being behind. In this case, if TSM have the clarity to know, okay, our team composition is going to fall off and we are currently on the back foot. The enemy has 2 dragons and approaching this dragon, we're going to have a hard time unless the enemy team makes mistakes. So you could approach it one way. You look to Ash Arrow, you look to Morgana Q, and you look to find picks, sure. Some people mentioned the pick composition. Sure, you can look to force that mistake. Or, as we mentioned before, TP and find the situation where you force in this space when Ornn has Ignite. If we are FlyQuest, we want to minimize that as much as possible. One way to do that is put Wild Turtle into mid lane. He has no reason to be topside. Why is he topside? There's no reason to be topside. If I'm FlyQuest, I want to minimize risk. I would think the opposite. Ornn is we are winning now 5v5. We have 2 Drakes up. We want to play for this Infernal. What can we do in order to maximize our farm? We put the Azir with the TP on top side. He has a TP, he doesn't have a flash, so he'll have to play extra safe, but extra safe is not a problem, right? It's not a problem at all. So we need to just make sure that Caitlyn is in mid lane together with Pantheon and Volibear. They can force Prio against the Syndra. And then on top of that, you know, Azir can be into top side, we can play into bottom side, we can push Ornn out, we can play with Ornn all the way, we can maybe threaten dive onto the Jace, we don't care about top side, right? Not a problem at all. And then afterwards we push it all the way up here, we can move with Ornn into mid lane, and then we can secure the push ult into top side, and maybe with these 2 minutes, maybe we even have time to take top tower. Just minimize risk, you know, make sure that we play on 2 lanes and make sure that Caitlyn is not the one on side lane, right? Fly don't even have to fight for this Drake. They don't even have to do that, right? They don't even have to do that. They don't even have to do that. So here TSM was showing up. 3 people showed up on ward. Walter is backing off. Ornn is in bottom side. Broken Blade is in a TP position. They are backing off. Here Ornn pushed up all the way, and here a bit of a mistake of FlyQuest. They are hard forcing, we spoke about this a lot. Ornn is still here and Jace is able to TP. So this is a small opportunity. Small opportunity. What is the logic behind Seraphs? I think it was just base timing. Just base timing. Just base timing. Seraphs gives the most AP of the 3 lost chapter items. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Ornn has Ignite instead of TP, but he's jogging, right? Here's Ornn jogging. He's jogging. He's trying to get to this fight. He's like, guys, Jace can TP. Jace can TP. We're giving them an opportunity. But even now, with TSM's composition, it's so easy for them to walk away. It's so easy for them to walk away. So even now, even though FlyQuest started this fight, they didn't really commit to anything. They didn't really commit to anything, right? So this continues. Ignar gets arrowed and then bound, and then he has E, of course. He's going to survive. Ornn is still jogging. Jace TP'd. Bottom wave is freezing. FlyQuest is taking a fight that they didn't need to take. But even now, even with this disaster that we just saw in front of us, with Ignar's HP getting caught and Volibear getting caught, there's still chances for them to win because Ornn is coming into this. Another reasonable approach to this could be, let's give up this fucking Herald. There's no plating anyway. We can easily turn and go into the mid lane turret, right? They can easily go into the mid lane turret. Easily go into mid lane turret. And just to bring it back, all of these things were very predictable. Very predictable. I didn't remember how this game went. I can do this with any game, and you can also learn how to do this with any game. Just make an assessment of what you think should happen, and then afterwards try to speak about why it doesn't happen, or why the choices that were made, and then you're going to begin to grow as a player, because this is something you can use even in your own games. You can take a step back. You realize here, if you take a look at the clock, just a clock, yep, clock, okay, a clock. We need a clock tab, okay. This is a clock, right? We have the seconds ticking down right in front of us, okay. The seconds are ticking down right in front of us. Stare at this timer. 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. The beauty of being able to stare at a clock, is that it's in the present, right? When you're staring at the clock, the reason time feels like it slows down is because you are present in that moment, just like your breath, right? Just like your breath. The reason meditation is centered around your breathing is because breathing is constant. It's very tough to remember a breath from 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I took that breath and it was just delicious, right? It doesn't really happen. Breathing is always constant. That's why, you know, meditation is revolving around breathing. And the reason I'm showing you this clock is because in-game you also have a clock. Right? You also have a big old clock. If you take a time to freeze time, you slow down time, you're in that moment, right? You're looking at the clock, same here. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 minutes, 01, 02, right? These ticks, this is going down. You know, when you're in that moment, when you're looking at it, when you're looking at it, you're in the moment, right? So use this as a tool in game. You have an in-game time, you can slow down time and find yourself in that moment. Activate your thoughts, be mindful of your situation. Very, very powerful tool that I teach to all of my players. Because our mind works in a way where when it finds itself in situations that it recognizes, it begins to save and conserve energy. That's why sometimes you play League of Legends all day and all of a sudden the day is gone. The day is gone. The day is gone. Because there is a sense of, your mind works in a way it wants to conserve energy and it turns into automation. But the thing is, the game of League of Legends, even though there's a lot of similarities between games, there is these small nuances that changes from game to game. When it comes to itemization, when it comes to choices that you make in game, when it comes to ideas and approaches. This is a big problem that 99.9% of League of Legends players have. It's automatic. And when you are automatic, you will not improve. You want to steer away from automation. You want to actively think about what's going on in front of you. So, when you take a look at the time, you slow down time. I'm counting. You can count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can count to 100, it will feel like it takes forever. But in reality, if you count to 100, that is the minion spawning from you fucking showing up on the rift. Right? From you showing up on the rift and the minion spawning, that time goes away. Especially if you're not level 1 invading, you're just chilling. You're just chilling there. Like, this guy wants a leash. Fucking dog. I'm not gonna give him a leash. Right? I don't want to fucking give him a leash. And then all of a sudden the minions spawn and 100 seconds have gone. But if you count from 1 to 100, it feels, feels like forever. And I want to tie this into what I said before. You can take a step back and analyze the game state. As we mentioned before, we can analyze the game state. So this happened, okay, Ornn, we had the Syndra Flash, we had the Jace Death in mid, we talked about the situation with Broken Blade TP, Ignar sitting on Ignite, Solo sitting on Ignite. He's saying, guys, I'm pushing both, don't fight on Rift Herald, and Flyco is just like, ah! We're fighting anyway. They're just fighting anyway, they're going for it. You can always take a step back and analyze the game state. Always analyze the game state. Always analyze the game state. You're watching Pro League, you want to improve, analyze the game state. Is the second Herald worth taking at all? In some cases, yeah. In some cases, yeah. So you have the situation, Jace TP's in, Ornn is chilling in bottom side, he's trying to get to his team, but this is FlyQuest forcing this fight, because they didn't do this thing about analyzing the game state. That's why it's so important to understand each and every position in the game, because when you begin to realize TSM maybe would have some winning chances if they put all their efforts into snowballing Syndra, right? Maybe they could have had some chances. Snowballing Jace wasn't the right approach. And if as a team you circle around this, if they circle around this idea of snowballing Syndra, then all of a sudden, you have a team that is thinking the same. But in order to achieve this, you need to have the clarity of understanding how each and every lane interacts with each other. This is what makes Dam 1 so damn good. This is what makes G2 so damn good, right? So this is terrible. This is terrible. Ornn there's nowhere to be found. And sometimes it's really obvious things. Sometimes really obvious things. LeJuice dude, this draft, in my opinion, was completely lost for TSM. So it's not the discussion of draft, but it's about what is going to give us the biggest winning chances. Thank you very much, Beefmaster46. I appreciate it in the middle of our conversation. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. You deserve my sub. Thank you, Beefmaster46. Let's continue. So now Ornn shows up. And here, as I mentioned, FlyQuest didn't need to force a continuation here. They didn't need to force a continuation here, because even if they give up Rift Herald, like imagine a world here Flyk would just go into mid and hit the mid turret. It is completely free. I mentioned this before they even started doing it. But I don't know why Ignar, like why is Ignar sniffing here? What's this? Right? Why is he here? Like everyone can just collapse on mid. I don't know why Turtle is still taking why is Wild Turtle not hitting the tower? Pantheon should be here, Volibear should be here, and then they have a very, very superior position onto the mid turret. I don't know what they're doing. So here Ignar is sniffing flowers. He's going in, gets an EQ to the head, very low HP, and gives TSM freedom of entry. Like what the fuck is Wild Turtle doing here? Like what on earth is this? So this is what make people think that North America is doomed. Things like this. Because what on earth? Like this is two teams right here. This is two teams. Two people making the right decision and three people doing whatever the fuck. Same thing as before with the Ornn and bottom side. Right? This is just complete disconnect. Complete disconnect. Complete disconnect. And in some teams you see disconnect too. And in some teams you see disconnect in bigger regions too. Right? In some other regions there's a disconnect too. Fnatic have a complete disconnect. Right? But Fnatic have better individual players. Right? Fnatic have better individual players. And now Power V was losing all of his HP. He just lost all of his HP. And TSM first dealt with Squad 1, and then they dealt with Squad 2. They just went 5, dealt with those boys, and then they went to the other side, dealt with the other boys. So now, if we do the exercise again of assessing the situation, the key pieces of information is Pantheon no Flash, that could be an opportunity. Pantheon no Flash, that could be an opportunity. Cleanse is gone from Wild Turtle, that could be an opportunity too. He doesn't have a sure Pantheon could block, but it's an opportunity. Because if they kill the Caitlyn, maybe they have some chances in the fight. So even though TSM might be in a losing position, there is still ways of looking for opportunity. So it could be like, okay, the enemy outscales us. What do we need to do as a team? We need to look for opportunities. What are our opportunities right now? We look at the enemy team. We have no TPs. We need to play a 4-1. Maybe we could do something like 3-1-1. Maybe we can stack on top push and punish someone that tries to show up on side instead of playing through mid lane. That could be an opportunity. Maybe we could collapse onto Caitlyn's lane and try to break him in half when FlyQuest are trying to be efficient through side. That is something that is, a completely valid way of playing the game. And maybe when you are playing against a team that is slightly worse, you can get away with gaining so much out of this. This is something that G2 does so well. The best teams in the world always do this aspect of the game so well. They always assess the situation, FlyQuest is complete opposite. We need to make sure that we play compact, we are ready for this Drake. We need to keep in mind that coming into this Drake, Caitlyn has no cleanse. We should on paper be stronger in a 5v5. Seraph Embrace is finished. No Boots finished on Ashe. She didn't base yet. She has some gold in her pocket. There is many reasons as to why they should win this fight. Caitlyn is stronger. Pantheon is in a good state. Mercury finished on Volibear. Ornn is very strong as well. There's many reasons as to why they should win this fight. Ornn has ult on, but we just need to protect our Caitlyn. Caitlyn, make sure you don't get hit by any Ashe arrows, no bindings, and we're going to win this fight. Let's trap up one side. Enemy has Infernal Drake. We trap one side and then make sure that the enemy funnels through the other. So this trap placement is kind of odd. I don't know what this Illuminati triangle is. Because you can easily just block a complete route and the enemy has, sure, Set can maybe face check. Yeah. And then, the beauty of Caitlyn is you can easily wall it off and then Ornn ult into one side and the enemy can't contest. That's why it's so one-sided at this point in the game. Like imagine you try to funnel through with this composition into the enemy. Sure, maybe you can find a flank with Set, but now because Set is showing and the enemy is completely boxed in here, there is no reason there is no way you can actually approach this. It's just important that you don't do the opposite. Because here you're controlling the right space already. It's important that FlyQuest don't enter here because then the opposite of the effect happens, right? The opposite effect happens. the enemy, you will funnel into the enemy through this path, and Syndra can be very effective here. Sometimes, in a lot of cases, it's better for junglers and supports to never show. Use Fog of War more because make them think. There is a big difference between a Morgana that is showing and covering this space, between a Morgana that is not showing and could be covering this space. All of a sudden Morgana is covering so much space, right? She's covering so much space. She could even be here in this bush, right? The difference in space that you cover when you're in Fog of War and the enemy doesn't know your position, like you can cover the whole fucking map, bro. This is how the OP Fog of War is. You can have the effect that you're covering this part of the map if you're in Fog of War. She's everywhere. Fog of War is beautiful. But that's a topic for a different time. That's a topic for a different time. Right now we're focusing on what's in front of us. It's a topic for a different time. The Schrödinger support. There we go. Nevertheless, Syndra's position is off here. She just based. She didn't have TP. And now it's important, as we mentioned, FlyQuest want to contest this space. They don't need to find entry. Right? They don't want to find entry. Block the Caitlyn and you're always going to be good. These traps are still kind of trash. These traps are very bad. Power of Evil eating EQ is a mistake. He shouldn't be able to eat EQ here. There is no reason as to why you should allow the enemy to gain entry here. Why is the Ornhorn not called? Why is Power of Evil not considering this angle and going after here? This should be already... this should be, your call to action. Because TSM is gaining access here. They're gaining access. There's the Ornhorn. That's a good one. Not bad at all. But a good Syndra stun. Beautiful Syndra stun. Very, very nice Syndra stun. Very, very nice Syndra stun. They get the Drake. They are happy. Ashwood goes wild. Caitlyn is in trouble. Caitlyn goes out, but Santorin blocks it. Okay. TSM gets Santorin. Ornn is very fed. Ornn is flash E-ing for no fucking reason at all. Great for him. One is dead. And there's the Power of Evil. Bjergsen is trying to kill Power of Evil, but Power of Evil has a normal magic mantle. Okay, 3 for 1. They get the Drake. This is something that TSM should be very, very happy with. If FlyQuest have better execution on this, I think this shouldn't happen. Another thing to note is Santorin didn't have ult, in fact. It was just a very, very strange and poorly played fight, in my opinion. So the key thing is, even though the enemy got 3 kills, it doesn't change the state of the game, right? TSM go directly for the Herald, and they didn't go for base. The only thing that changed was that Syndra doesn't in fact have a little wisp. This looks like I shouldn't say what I wanted to say. If you know, you know. Terrible trap placement. Terrible, very, very bad trap placement. Here we go. Same thing again. FlyQuest get funneled through, and the only reason this was even a valid fight in the first place was because things went down that just shouldn't go down. Like Ornwell gets cancelled, Azir is a bit chunked, they are backing off when they don't need to. Like, why is Solo here? Why is Solo here? Like, why is Solo not here instead? In an angle where he can't get set ulted into the enemy, into his own team. They could be fighting back here, but they just choose not to, right? Especially after the Ornn ult is missed. It's like, okay, we get the Drake, we back off, and whatever, right? Like, it's just the exercise that the entire TSM roster was allowed to enter through here. That in itself is crazy, especially when they had the opportunity to go through here too. Imagine in a world where Wild Turtle placed his Caitlyn traps like this. Imagine Jace came from this angle and Morgana or maybe Syndra even came from this angle. Then all of a sudden it would be a different fight, just because of how poor the Caitlyn trap placement was. Alright? So let's continue. TSM, even though they get 3 kills, they lost the dragon, and coming into the next fight, their power levels haven't changed. If we look at some of the changes, Wild Turtle use Flash is going to have cleanse up, or now has a barrier, And now he's thinking for himself, Ornn, next time I'm not going to get fucking Syndra stunned. I'm going to make sure that this ult goes off, right? That is the whole purpose here. That's the whole lesson from that fight. You know, if we look at it from FlyQuest's position, okay, we make sure that the Ornn doesn't get cancelled. This Rift Herald, honestly, they don't even need to fight for it because a lot of time has gone. They could easily trade into other sides. The mid tower is gone. You know, they could be very, very happy with this state of the game, giving up this Rift Herald. They don't even need to fight this if they don't feel comfortable to do so because they are winning. This state of the game is completely winning for FlyQuest. They have all the time in the world to reach the perfect situation for them to fight. An argument for it could be Wild Turtle is currently sitting on a Zeal in comparison to Ashe. I don't know how much gold Ashe has actually, because she hasn't based in a long time. So there is a chance that Ashe bases and she finishes Hurricane, right? So there's a chance that happens. But you could look for better opportunities in terms of your spikes to fight. But even now, 5-5 on paper, they should be winning. So here the Herald gets used. Set is completely isolated from his team. Like, this is... Chaotic Cake, thank you so much for subscribing. This is TSM backing off already and just leaving Set here. It's just a really, really awkward situation, honestly. It's very, very awkward. It's super, super awkward. Like, playing for the Herald like that with TSM's composition is just a losing play. And here goes Pantheon. Pantheon has no flash, but he has a Z, so all is good. TSM were worried about losing their mid turret. And that's the thing, right? Doing second Herald, losing a mid tower for it is completely... It's terrible, right? The only thing that you get is your... you get like an epic monster kill stack, you know, on your... what's it called? Immortals? What's it called? These fucking things that no one uses anymore. That Riot was so hyped about. What are they called? These what is it called? These Eternals! Thank you, Eternals. That's what you get. You get a point for epic monster kill, Eternals. But if you are giving up a turret to get a Rift Herald, like you know in itself that that's complete bonkers, right? That's complete bonkers. That's like, what the fuck are you thinking, right? Because Rift Herald barely gets a tower, right? The second Rift Herald barely gets a tower. Like, Rift Herald is good if it helps you break the mid tower, whatever, you know? That's why, you know, if TSM need to extend themselves so far to get this Herald, it's not worth it. It's a second one. It's a second Rift Herald. They could be contesting midway, but then go into it, right? It's just that here, I can understand TSM's movement. They're going into here because they don't want to be here. They know us playing against Ornn here is a complete disaster. It's a complete disaster, right? So TSM are naturally going into here because they don't want to lose mid-turret. They don't want to commit all the way into this side. Let's say TSM is here, right? TSM is here. They lose mid-tower. They lose mid-tower. And then they need to base. They got a Herald, but they lose mid-tower. So just in the first place, doing Herald here, I don't like it. Unless, of course, Guy says he loves you. Oh, Kamsanida, thank you. Thank you. In a world where TSM is in mid, like sure, if you're doing the Rift Herald in hope to bait a fight, okay, then fucking commit to it. Commit to it. Because that is reasonable. Like here, it's like, okay, the game is fucking doomed, enemy has 3 dragons, and they have this composition. We need to start a fight. That's possible. That's possible. That's a reasonable explanation. But they are not in that mind where they want to fight, because Set just gets killed. Here's Syndra, gets knocked up. She keeps flash. Here goes Pantheon. There's the Seraph's Embrace. Pantheon is out, and the HP levels are good. They trade a Set for a Rift Herald. I think they're happy, and they take it. Ornn the TP. How would the TSM even start a fight again? Morgana bind. The enemy is, in fact, face checking them. It's not... Keep in mind, TSM is in a losing position. They need to make things that on paper is worse in order to win. They need to hope for mistakes, right? They need to hope for mistakes. Because if we put it into consideration, it depends on Volibear's strength. Volibear didn't finish second core. Orn might not reach 13. Like, if Orn reaches 13, he's going to be very happy. He's going to upgrade the Sunfire Cape. Double lethality items now. Volibear didn't, in fact, finish an item. Azir still on 1 core, but it's 2 core on AD carries, and AD carry has Cleanse now, and also Berserker Greaves. So this is, you know, next upcoming fight is the best chance TSM are ever going to have this game. Obviously, this game is going to be in the dust if Fly, you know, if Fly gets Fire Soul, then, you know, just good luck. We understand that it's not so hopeful for TSM, but we are turning this game into an exercise. Every game could be an exercise. Everyone's asking about how they become a coach, how they become better at this game. Every game is an exercise. You need to learn how to be comfortable in losing positions, and even in those positions squeeze out victories. Because it's possible, because no one plays perfect, especially in solo queue and in lower level of play, no one plays perfect. The lower level of games that you're playing, the easier and the higher chances you will have of, you know, the value of decisions becomes higher. For example, if I'm playing in, for example, to win the LCS, you need precision of decisions, but the amount of decisions you need to make are not that many to win the LCS, right? If you want to win the LPL, the level of decisions that you have to make that need to be precise in a game goes up so much, A lot of the playoff games in North America was really down to who makes the least amount of mistakes, because we saw a lot of moments that were completely, you know, there's only this motion is the only thing that can, and that's why Team Liquid and FlyQuest, they ended up so high at the end of regular split. They played a very precise way with very minimal decision making, and that's a good way of playing the game at the level that North America's at. Honestly, it's not a roast at all. It's not a roast at all. But it seemed like FlyQuest and Team Liquid tried to shy away from that coming into playoffs, and that's reasonable. So let's take a look at this. We have the Rift Herald. Rift Herald is good to use here for TSM to gain position. FlyQuest here, in some cases, you know, this is a bit of a question mark because of this. The Herald is pushing the carries back, and now TSM are taking this position. This is a fine engage, but they use a lot of tools already. FlyQuest is disengaging because they know the position of FlyQuest of their carries is out. This is a great position for TSM to be in because, of course, they're going to funnel through here. In a lot of cases, when you want to retake this space, you want to do it through mid. Retaking through this little ramp, it's tough. It's tough. It's very tough. So let's take a look how this plays out. You know, this has some potential. This has some, you know, some room of excitement here for TSM. But this ward is clutch. This ward is clutch. Very, very clutch, this ward. No sweeper, no nothing. So this ward is still alive. It's a big issue for TSM. Because this allows Santorin to access. This allows Power of Evil to access. Everyone is visible. If they are not visible, all of a sudden Santorin face checking here could mean and spell his doom. Could spell his doom. We look at this current state of the fight. There's no Volibear ult, no Ornn ult. Azir and Caitlyn are in a good state. There's no Ashe ult, but there's still Sett ult and Morgana ult and Syndra ult, and Jace doesn't have an ult. Okay. So this is alright. This is alright, but just this ward hurts the situation. If we look at it from FlyQuest's perspective, best case scenario, they are the ones who walk up on mid now. They need to be contesting here already. They need to be here already with Ornn and Volibear. They need to be up in the front already, up in the front. Give Caitlyn space, give Azir space, and they can look for some beautiful poke. Another thing is Pantheon shouldn't be showing. Pantheon really shouldn't be showing. This pink should be cleared, and then, you know, if you are hiding in fog, the better it is for you. But now FlyQuest is skipping steps. Once again, the configuration where they are splitting in two. They are splitting in two. Just panic. A bit of panic. Seems like Yamato's triggered by NA. No, not at all, really. Not at all. Really, really, really. I'm not triggered. Not at all. Really, really not at all. So now this ward was a problem. This ward is still a problem. This ward is MVP. MVP. Very, very MVP. MVP this ward. This ward still, my goodness, this ward is just beautiful, 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 beautiful ward, beautiful. Oh, my line is moving. My line is moving. Beautiful ward, beautiful ward. EQs are landing. FlyQuest seems like they are just going to give this up, and they have, because of their draft, the freedom to do so. Or no ultimate. Still about 60-second cooldown on that. No Ornn ultimate and no Volibear ultimate makes them like bags of meat, honestly. They are bags of meat. Bjergsen positioning well here, looking for potential flanks. Broken Blade and TSM, they are spreading out in a good way. TSM are looking out for liabilities, which is good. They're looking out for liabilities. But the issue here with FlyQuest is that they're all showing. They're all showing. Like Pantheon should be here. Pantheon should be looking for here. These are areas that they should use. These are very, very important areas. Now everyone has, no one has wards on. FlyQuest have an issue where they don't really gain access here to anyone. There's the engage. Set is going on. Set made a very poor judgment call here. Set is going, like Set is looking for the biggest gameplay ults here, but it's not the right move. It's really, really not the right move. A very, very good W from Ornn, honestly. Good W from Ornn. Honestly, it doesn't even matter if he W'd or not. He's so fucking sturdy. Like, look, here is Ornn eating absolutely everything here. He's absolutely eating everything. He's eating everything, but it doesn't matter. He's a tanky, chunky boy. This Ornn pick was just too nasty. Yeah, TSM probably made the most out of this, but Speaker kind of runs it down here. He kind of runs it down here. They need to play a very, very long and slow fight. They need to, like, in order to win a fight, like Jace needs to throw maybe 4 or 5 EQs to win. Alright, he needs to play maybe 3 or 4 or 5 EQs to win. They didn't. Speaker completely engaged, botches HP. Jace also traded and lost a lot of his HP too. Let's take a look at what Broken Blade does in this fight. So he fires an EQ, it misses, it whiffs completely, takes the E of Volibear as well into the head. He's tanking the dragon, Qs in, and then he gets ulted by the Caitlyn and completely just dies. Wild Turtle with the aggressive flash. This was pretty ridiculous. Look at Wild Turtle's flash. We don't like that, but it's fine. Double Flash was supposed to flash too because of it, but you know, whatever. There's just comp difference at this point. Comp difference. Speaker engaging too hard. Broken Blade engaging too hard. Missing that Q. Speaker smite. So that's cool. That's cool, but 1 for 1. No Nasher opportunity here. Instantly, when you see this position, and the enemy is forced into this space, you always put yourself in the mind: is it correct to go for Nash? But there's no dragon. There's no too little HP bars, because keep in mind, when Ornn ult is down, he has a hard time accessing these boys, right? Very tough to access these people. Very, very tough to access these people when he needs to play on Caitlyn range. Ornn walking forward. Broken Blade coming in. Yo, TSM should be forcing. They should be forcing. The late game position is losing. This is the best scenario they will ever get. Powerville inting a little bit. This is the first time Powerville looked confident the whole game. He could have found better opportunities to do just this, and he found this one, but it wasn't too exciting. Broken Blade doing some movement, but you see the lethality is not doing that much work against the Ornn. Wild Turtle using Bloodline, he's healing so much. Caitlyn is already reaching breaking point. Solo's gonna reach level 14, build that wild turtle up. Bjergsen is face checking here. I'm not sure what he was looking for, but it's definitely not Christmas in the Bjergsen household, because this was strange. Okay, we move on. We move on. We move on. They got the Drake at least, so the game lives on. Well, it has a pulse. If that constitutes as living, then yes, okay. Bjergsen has TP. FlyQuest can tank this indefinitely. Solo is very strong. Like, look at the amount of HP Solo has. This is Ornn. This is Ornn in action. This is an Ornn that got killed, and this is an Ornn in such a game is just too OP. Like, Ornn 4th pick was definitely the way, or ban Ornn. So here's a continuation. Spica has Hex Flash, so that is an opportunity. 12 against 12. No really huge burst opportunities on FlyQuest, but honestly, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of this. This is risk for no reason. This is risk for no reason. Because here could be, you know, Spica charges his Hex Flash, but it looks like it got cancelled or something. Like he gets into combat, they hit him, and now he can't Hex Flash. So that's cool, I guess. I didn't think about this interaction. And now he can't Hex Flash. So that's cool. That's cool. Alright. Maybe FlyQuest had this in mind. Because now Spica is completely out of position as a free Nash. So I like this. I like this. If they had the level of clarity to just, you know, say, fuck you, you're not gonna Hex Flash if we hit you, then beautiful. Then it's no longer a 50-50. It's just a Set is looking to Hex Flash, but then now he can't Hex Flash. He was put in combat. So this was a pretty neat play by FlyQuest. And then on top of that, I was talking about burst, but the double smite is there. The double smite is there, and I didn't think about that. So double smite is there. This is a neat play. This is a neat play. It's a 50-50? No, it's not a 50-50 because Spica doesn't have flash, and he gets put in combat. So there's no nothing. Syndra can burst more than smite. I think at this point maybe no. Maybe no. Maybe at this point no. Horrible traps. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck these traps are. Like what on earth are these traps? These are some crazy traps, man. That's a good point, man. I don't intend to flame anyone, but these are some wild ass traps. This is ASAP Ferg is fucking Yo, ASAP Ferg is very unhappy with these traps. Holy shit. Traps in case set flashes. Yo. Oh. Yo, I'm down for some Among Us after I review this game and also the next one. Wild Turtle smoking some good kush. Honestly, the California kush is crazy. Kate sniffing ass with those traps. Sure. Yeah, it doesn't even stop him from smiting. Oh, it's a good ult from Spica. Good ult from Spica. He grabs the Ornn. He finds the angle. Boom. Very, very nice. But it doesn't matter too much. Santorini jumps in, gets double lift. Boom. Boom. He's so tonky. He's so tonky. Look at him. And here they are together in the pit. But Ornn is just too OP. And the game is lost. I think that is the end of this review, guys. I think we can move on to the next game. Thank you very much, M. Shindberry. What kind of style does TSM play? Praying? I don't know. Bjergsen playstyle? Did Ash use cleanse at all? Probably not. It's a very, very weird choice. Cleanse purchase, lethality on Jace. Let's pick Morgana into Pantheon is so strange. Giving Owen was also strange. What is the tool that you use, right? Epic. It's called Epic Pen. Epic Pen. Holy shit, look at Ash getting completely... Like, what is Double F doing out here, man? What on earth is he doing out here, man? Yo! Yo! Pang! Peter Pang! Yo! Alright. Alright. He's trying to go next, yeah. Honestly, respectable, respectable. I hope you guys learned some new stuff in this review. I hope you guys learned some new stuff in this review. I'm not trying to be that guy that just fucking pummels on NA for whatever reason. Like, I know it's good fun sometimes, but I'm trying to be as analytical as possible because I think it's a fair thing to do. I think often public opinion is just, oh, every analyst says they are bad and terrible and trash, so I guess I'll think the same. And then it just circulates around and it's not really constructive in any shape or form. But we pointed out a lot of mistakes. We talked about the draft and how it's going to reflect in the game. We talked about key moments into the game that decided the game. And the transition of the snowball with the Jace dying in the mid lane was a very big problem. What's good pick into Shen? Gangplank is the best one. Nico is a good one. There's many ones. There's a lot of good ones. You said TL and Fly play high precision, low action. I think they would. I think TSM has a slightly higher level of action, of level activity, slightly higher level of activity, and I think a lot of that comes from Speaker and Bjergsen. Yeah.